Welcome to Arts Beat Radio here on 89.5 FM WSKB and Westfield Community Programming Channel 15. I'm Mark Auerbach. Peter Coles is our chief engineer today, and we have a different kind of program for you. Usually we talk with the big guns, like Hartford Stage or the Bushnell or Jacob's Pillow. But today we're going to talk over the course of this hour with two people involved in different kinds of community arts activity. And if you don't have community arts activity and you're not building future artists of tomorrow, then you don't have the Bushnell and Hartford Stage and Berkshire Theater Group to count on. Many of these big theater companies have small educational programs and they tour to the schools. But there's some unique programs out here, and Tom Willits, my guest today, is going to talk about one of them. It's from Music and Poetry Synchronized and the Pioneer Valley Charter Arts School, which I probably just mangled.
It's difficult because there's so many different words in that title.
There are, and in both. But you guys got involved in a collaboration with a school in Puerto Rico. And basically what happened is, you know that there have been earthquakes in Puerto Rico. So the students that were involved in this program that were supposed to leave and go to Puerto Rico were sidelined. They could not go. And so the two groups are doing a benefit concert in Holyoke this month. And it's going to raise money so that the project can continue on here in Puerto Rico. So Tom is very much involved in it, and let's chat about this program.
Well, if I started from the beginning, it's 14 years that we've been taking students from urban settings and rural settings. So in the particular with its Pioneer Valley Performing Arts Charter Public School, which I totally understand is a mouthful. And I taught songwriting and vocal technique at that school for 10 years. I came out 5 years ago. And during that time, created this program in partnership with them. And the principal locations up until this year have been New York City and here in Western Massachusetts, and where we would take kids predominantly from schools in the Harlem area. They would write poetry during the fall semester, and then in the spring semester, the kids up here in Massachusetts would write the music using those poems as lyrics. And so we would create songs and then have big concerts either in New York or here in Massachusetts. And it's been a tremendous program of collaboration, racial diversity, social justice, geographic sort of learning, different geographic learning. And so we decided a year ago that why not take the Massachusetts school, why not take Pioneer Valley, PVPA, and take some students and go to do a partnership with a school in Puerto Rico. So we worked over the last year to put this partnership together with Alcides Figueroa School, which is in Anasco, Puerto Rico, which is in the western part of Puerto Rico near Rincon, which is the sort of surfing area of Puerto Rico. And lots of work went into bringing that partnership together. And then this fall, those students down in Puerto Rico wrote these fantastic poems. And so we were raising money, putting the trip together over the last year. And then, as you illuminated 3 weeks ago, the first big earthquake hit, the 6.4. And we were still on at that point. Unfortunately, then the 5.9 scale earthquake hit a couple of Saturdays ago, and it was after that we all realized that it was the risks inherent with trying to bring 20 of us down there when the school is the school is still not open, our partner school, even today, and we were supposed to start on Monday. So
there was
the right
a lot
decision.
of damage right where that school.
Not right where that school, because it was to the south of there, but there was some damage. But more than anything, they closed all the schools on the entire island, and then they have to systematically go through every school and inspect. And so they had literally planned to inspect the day that that 5.9 hit, that then kicked the approval, the process by which, and so, as I said, the school still isn't even open today. So we had to rally quickly into a plan B. We made the decision not to go, and then what were we going to do that we could continue the relationship and work together? So what's happening is we have a video crew down in Puerto Rico filming each one of the poets reading their poems, which is normally what you would have happen if we were together, is a poet would get on stage, they would read their poem, and then the songwriting crew, who actually had then taken that poem and created the music to then create a finished song, would get on stage and perform their song. So we go back and forth and back and forth. And so what we're going to do, as you were speaking towards the fundraising concert that we're planning to have at Gateway Arts down near the canals in Holyoke on the 13th of February. We will have a screen on the stage, and what we'll do is play the student, as long as we can capture their video, because we still have to have the school open to be able to do this. But the intention is to have each individual poet speak their poem, and then as soon as they're finished, we'll have the group from PVPA go on stage and perform the song that was created from the poems. And that music writing process is going on right now as part of the independent study 3-week program, Paideia, that exists at PVPA.
How old are the kids that are involved?
High school. These are high school kids. Yep, all high school kids. In Puerto Rico, I think there was one 10th grader, and all the rest were 11th and 12th graders. And at PVPA, I would say sophomore, junior, we have a couple of seniors, but it's more the sort of sophomore, junior years, 10th and 11th. And I think that the other plans that we put in place is we're planning to a Skype session where each poet will have a chance to meet, talk through their process, both the writing of the poetry and the writing of the music that companions with that particular poem. And each of those groups of students will have a chance through Skype to spend some time together. So at least we have that opportunity today that we wouldn't have had 10 years ago. And then in addition, the effort around having the concert, raising money, and that money is really to go to the hardest hit communities in Puerto Rico who have realized the most damage through the earthquake, which as I said tends to be more near Ponce and sort of the southern.
While we're talking about this, if somebody's interested in getting tickets, is there a website or a Facebook page or something like that?
There is not there's no format to purchase in advance. It's just the February 13th. There should be plenty of room because the hall, it has a pretty big capacity, and we're suggesting a $15 sort of donation in a sense, and anybody can donate whatever they want, but it's sort of a minimum donation that we'd appreciate. And then we're still identifying, because there's a number of organizations that are working in a number of different communities in different ways. So we're still just locking those down as to what, and then we'll have to see where we are after the concert, what kind of donation base we have to be able to work with that.
Do you think it'll become an annual thing?
Well, the plan, when we put the program together, was a 2-year plan. So it was to have PVPA students go down to Puerto Rico this year, and next year to bring it would maybe some different, mostly different, but whatever, the students from Alcides, Figueroa, to bring them up here in January next year with a whole lot of winter coats to give them when they arrived at the airport. So we'll have to see about the second half of the program. Obviously, we didn't get there on the first half. And I think the exciting thing, as you know, Mark, when you do anything and you run an organization, even if you're just living your daily life, things happen. You think you have it all figured out, and everything's going along the way you got it all planned, and then get a curveball or a major curveball, and in this case, certainly a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of effort went into this, and then we had to completely, it was a complete left-hand turn to figure out what we would do. So the benefit of going through this process that we're in right now is to realize, so as we go forward, it's an enormous endeavor to take students and fly them someplace, wherever you are. It's expensive, and it's also just, there's a lot of logistical, lodging and food and all the things you have. And with the world as it stands now, and the benefit of the technology that we're participating in right now, there may be ways we're now as an organization thinking about, does this actually present us an opportunity that there may be ways that we can, through technology, and I mean, we've sent, these are the MAPS t-shirts that are from program, the Massachusetts, New York program, but we have white t-shirts that went to Puerto Rico, which I'm waiting for them to arrive. They should have arrived Tuesday, and they haven't arrived yet. But we do, there's that representation of sort of the program, and if we can do that, we can film, we can use video crews, because what will happen is we're going to also videotape the concert that happens here, and then that will be sent to Puerto Rico, and they plan to have a big concert, in a sense, on their side where we were going to have the concert, and they'll play the entire show, and they'll have people come, and whether they take that opportunity to turn it into a fundraiser or not, that's really for the benefit of the students there. So through technology, there are ways now that I as executive director and our organization, the staff and teachers, we're starting to think, does this present a way forward? Because right now, the principal MAPS is in three different, we have three different significant programming bases. One is, as we're talking about, there's the New York City, and then there's Hartford, Connecticut, along with Vermont. So we have this Hartford, and that's a developing, going to be a significant sort of landing spot for us with multiple schools, which then will partner in New Hampshire and Vermont and Massachusetts. And it's a little easier then because, yes, this time of year you have to deal potentially with a snow day. But by and large, you can get them on a bus and you can go and you can do it that way. And that's a lot more manageable. So if we wanted to expand the program sort of out of the region, it may be through a technological connection that it makes sense. But we'll just see. This is all unfolding as we go right now.
How did you pick that particular school in Puerto Rico?
One of our board members, actually, his wife grew up there, and so this is one of the primary bilingual schools on the island, and they knew it well, and so they came to me a year ago, September 2018, and said, "What do you think about this idea?" We went to PVPA. The wonderful thing about PVPA is they're just incredibly willing to listen and think about just creative programming, and they've done some amazing trips out of PVPA before, and I think the performing arts back sort of drop for everything they do suits them really well, and they were just excited, thought it was a great idea, and so then they've been participating. We've done it sort of together all the way through. So it's I can't say enough about all of our partner schools. They are big fans of the MAPS program. They see what it brings the students in a way to communicate and join with kids that they would never otherwise have the opportunity to do, and they see the benefit of an organization that picks up the travel, picks up a teacher stipend, does a whole bunch of the sort of nuts and bolts that makes it a lot easier than if I went to them and said, "Here, you have to do all this, and we'll just come in and act like, we'll run it." We really take responsibility for the programming.
Now, you're a musician, and you've written songs, you perform, you've cut some CDs and stuff like that. What kind of music are these little collaborations bringing out? classical rock? What's the jazz? What's the genre?
The beauty of it is that so for instance, in Hartford, we're running a middle school 7th and 8th grade program right now, and the songs that they are writing, I would say, skew more hip hop, more pop, hip hop, sort of that genre, as opposed to certainly this PVPA Puerto Rican school partnership. The high school kids at PVPA who are very talented. You get a great diversity. You get Latin, you get jazz, you get R&B. This year where we are, because the songs are being written right now, there's some rock, not quite as much. Some years it just depends on who your student base is. In other words, you could have a guitar-heavy student base that is really into rocking it, and then you may skew a little more rock, but it's pretty diverse. The beauty is you can go to mapsmusic.org, which is our website, and you can just look at the archive, and you can watch the shows from the last 10 years, and you can see the diversity and the quality of the material, both on the poetry side and then as lyrics for the songs that are created.
Who gets to mentor these students as they're working on their poetry and their music? Are there people that actually help them merge poetry and song?
Yes. So the teachers we have in all of the schools, whether they're a music teacher, whether they're an English teacher, they are instrumental in encouraging the students to accomplish quality poetry and songwriting. I think what we've seen through the years is that the kids, if you just encourage them a little bit, and make them feel the confidence or feel to get in touch with just what they're thinking, just what's their life experience, and I think the beauty of the program is if you read the lyrics, the poems, and you see the stories that these kids tell about their lives, very difficult. I mean, some of these are very emotional, very soulful, the messages that they're writing about. And then the music often reflects the same, or in some cases we've had where we, in an urban setting, we may have a student write what's basically a rap. And then you'll have a student, a group of students who are writing the particular music for that. They may go and write a country song, or they might write a ballad, or they might write more of a classically based piece with a cello and some other instrumentation such as that. And it's almost shocking the juxtaposition of these two sort of creative expressions. But boy, when they come together and then you bring the students together and they have a chance to experience how differently their take is, and then how much that exposes them to realize, wow, geez, I wrote that and then it ended up there, is an extraordinary thing to witness. And the joining that happens for them around realizing the beauty of that this is truly a collaboration. So a lot of it we guide as teachers, staff, but the students are great. They really figure out a lot of what they do. We're sort of more like, they may come up with a melody and then they go, I'm stuck. And then we might suggest, a different chord progression or something like that. And on the poetry side, they may get two stanzas in or two paragraphs in or whatever it is, and then they're like, yeah, but I don't know where to go now. And so you just maybe give them a word, or you do, and then they're off and running. So
give me the website for MAPS again.
Okay, it's MAPS, like the acronym MAPS, music, all one word, mapsmusic.org.
Okay, so people can learn about
Absolutely.
Now, the program, you said there's one happening here in Western Mass.
Yep.
You mentioned Hartford.
Yep.
And New York.
Yep.
Are there others?
Well, so the Hartford, Vermont program is Hartford, Connecticut, and Montpelier, Vermont. So there's that one. There's New York, what we've been talking about earlier, the sort of the original program, and that's with one of the well, there are two schools in New York, Urban Assembly School for Green Careers, which is high school, and Innovations Diploma Plus, which are in Midtown, and that's also with PVPA. And so the next year, the idea is to expand to at least another school in Hartford and in Vermont, and then to continue the Puerto Rico project as well. So next year we would be up to running 4 programs, and the idea is to continue to add from there. So
yeah, you've always been involved in your various career elements in terms of social change and responsibilities and things of that ilk. Is this a full-time gig for you now?
Yep, it is. Yeah. So I left my company, longtime company, back in May of 2018, and this is all I'm doing. So after the program is 14 years old. So for the first 12 and a half years, I was running the program, running another business, I was doing a whole bunch of different things, and it's been really exciting. And that's part of obviously the reason, or it's afforded me the time to expand the program, and it needed to go to the next level. And I'm very pleased with what we've accomplished in the last year, and then what we have coming up. And so I appreciate the opportunity. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit, correct?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
People can
Yes.
write a donation check if they want.
Absolutely.
And all of that.
Yep.
Now,
And you can donate through the site. There's a donate button.
Where are the donations coming from? Corporate, foundation, individuals?
I would say predominantly foundations. We've had a great support in the Hartford area and in New York. We're still developed, as you well know, in Western Massachusetts. There's not as much of a foundational sort of support there is in some ways, but for this, we're a little more challenged than a bigger market. And in terms, a lot of individuals too. I mean, it just comes down to everybody you know. And I feel blessed that in my few years that I've been here on the planet, that there's just some wonderful people who have really stepped up and are really helping make this all go. So
yeah, why did you choose Gateway City Arts? It's a great performance space.
It's a great performance space. They're mission oriented. Vitek and Lori are definitely of that sort of ilk. They have a connection to PVPA as well. And quite frankly, we wanted a venue in Holyoke. We just felt it was very important to make this accessible to the Puerto Rican community. And Holyoke's the best place we could possibly go. And so in terms of what could we find, you have to remember that this just all changed about a week ago. Monday was when we had to make the decision, and then we had to find a venue. And so they fortunately had 2 different dates that we were able to work with. And so that Thursday, the February 13th, worked out, and thank goodness it did.
So we've got this program. Again, give the website.
Okay, mapsmusic.org.
And Gateway City Arts is in downtown Holyoke.
Race.
It's a great place.
Yeah. Really cool place. And they've got some good food now. They've got a brand new sound system that's great.
Like a Czech restaurant or something.
Yes, right there. Yeah. And tapas. Yeah, they just got some cool stuff. It's just a cool space. And if people have never been, it's right by the canals. It's easy to get to. You can just park there. It's safe. And I think that the beauty of this is normally the concert that people would see if they come is the same concert that we have happen every year at the end of the MAPS program, whether it's here, Hartford, New York, wherever it is. But normally it's within the school community. This would be the first time that that particular concert is really open to the public. So there will be school participation, but really the point of it is to bring the community into this. Yes, it affords a fundraiser for those challenged by the earthquakes, but it at the same time is you see the operation of a MAPS concert that we have every year. So it's a fun opportunity for people to see that.
So, folks, put that on your calendar. Tom Willits, thanks for joining us today. It's always great to have you.
It's great to see you. Thanks for
me.
having me. Yes.
And we'll be back after we acknowledge our underwriters. We'll be talking with Jay Pagluica from Westfield Concerts, which has their February concert season coming up. And this is Arts Beat Radio. I'm Mark Auerbach. Peter Coles is our chief engineer. We're at Studio 120 here at Westfield Technical Academy, and we will be right back.
Provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield. Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Welcome back to Art Speed, everyone. I'm Mark Auerbach, and a familiar face is sitting next to me, Jay Pagluica. We're actually, Jay's on Friday mornings right before I am, so but we never see each other.
Well, no, it's okay, because you know how fast I run out the door.
Yeah, you are a sprinter, man, you know. But you and Patrick Berry, another former face here on WSKB all the time, started Gaslight Entertainment, which is powering a Westfield concert series.
That's
and
right.
Started in the fall with a Carole King tribute. Just had a set of concerts, and now moving on towards February. In fact, I believe it's tonight that you have your next concert.
Our February shows are I just drew a blank here. a group called Starman. They're a David Bowie tribute. And then on Saturday will be a Queen tribute called 33 1/3 Lives Killer Queen Experience. And these guys are amazing. They're not trying to look like the original Queen concerts or what you saw in the movie, but they work very hard at recreating the sound of Queen, and that's not an easy thing to do. I saw Queen many times in the 70s and was always blown away by the music, the sounds, the harmonies that came out of 4 people on stage. It was phenomenal. So these guys do it well. I'm really looking forward to that.
Have you been the person primarily booking the talent?
The main acts, yes. I've got a few agents that we're working with, and obviously it's in consultation with Patrick. And then he's working to bring in some local acts to open for all of these as well.
I mean, I just think that the balance of them, the local people are pretty good. And these groups that you're bringing in, it's probably the highest level of entertainment production that's happening in the area. And it's the first of its kind in Westfield.
Well, thank you. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We want to bring something that Westfield really has not seen, at least not for many, many years. You'd have to go to Hartford, New Haven, even Boston or Albany in order to see groups like this. So, you're getting a higher level of entertainment. And, and we're excited because it has just, some of these even surprised me. I knew what to expect, and then the show comes in, and I'm blown away by the professionalism and the quality of this talent.
The thing I notice is I follow the Gaslight Entertainment on Facebook. And the day after a concert, the comments that people are writing in about how great it is, and they never thought something like this could happen in the area and stuff. It seems like the audience is behind you 110%.
That's a good feeling. And, and I have to say that partnering with the Women's Club over at 28 Court Street has been, it's been a treat. These folks, we share the building with their primary tenant up on the stage, which is the Westfield Theater Group. And, it's not easy to do that when right now they are building a stage for their next show. They're building the sets for the show. So, but we're fortunate that we can fit our act out on the apron, the thrust part of that stage. We just close the main drape. Nobody knows what's going on behind the Nobody knows what's going on behind the curtain.
There's a little perfume shop in Hungary in 1920 hiding behind there. Yeah.
And the other thing you mentioned that I was booking a lot of the main acts. A very good contact of mine has been Kathy Wagner of Panzeiler Entertainment. I met her almost a year ago now, and she's become the person. She's an agent for many acts in the Northeast here, and she's become one of those people that I can count on. I know whatever she suggests is going to be outstanding. Obviously I'd like to go out and see them too, and I usually do. I'm able to go out and see these acts first, so I get to see them twice.
Yeah, you're very lucky.
Yeah.
And I also know that there have been some difficulties in producing. First of all, it's a startup organization. So building your brand within the Westfield community and the surrounding communities is tough for anybody. But you've done pretty well. People seem to know now what Westfield Concerts is. But I mean, you've had pitfalls. Your generator got stolen, but the media just jumped behind you guys and said, hey, this horrible thing happened, but let's talk about it and build up enthusiasm for the next set of concerts.
Well, the short version of that is, coming off a very good weekend of 3 great shows, by the end of the last show, we're striking the set, and I go outside to collect my outdoor lights and go, hey, how come they're not on? And of course, the generator that was driving them was stolen. And it's a shame, but we aren't going to let that get us down. And I've even had a lot of offers to help. I says, how can I help you? You know what you can do if you really want to help? Buy a ticket to one of these shows. WestfieldConcerts.com. You go out there and you can buy your tickets right there. The whole list of shows is right there, right through May. That's the best thing I can hope for. I want to fill that room every night. And if we can do that, and I've said this to the last act we had on stage there was Porter Carroll Jr., a percussionist for Hall & Oates, and an incredible singer on his own. And he goes, this is just an amazing little venue. And he's played New York City, all over the country he's been. He goes, this is one of the coolest little rooms that we have ever played. And, and it's that kind of enthusiasm from pros that are literally all over the country, all over the world, that is exciting as all get out. And, you hear that kind of a thing. There is nothing better than getting to the end of a show, having the entire audience on their feet, and I'm sitting in the back of the room just, putting my fingers on the lights and making them flash a little bit. And, and I'm blown away by what we see there, and it's so much fun, and it's that excitement at the end of the show that makes it all worth it. A lot of work, a little bit of headache.
A lot of work, but you got a lot of support. Community people in the community are sponsoring. People are, getting in line. Hopefully, you'll sell out. So this upcoming starts today. You've got 2 shows this weekend.
That's right. And, it's going to be Starman Friday night, the David Bowie experience, and then 33 1/3 Live's Killer Queen experience on Saturday. Somebody asked me, why 33 1/3? It was someone that had never seen a piece of vinyl before. I had to explain about, big record that goes, that's the RPM around. Yeah.
Although, I got to say, I heard through the grapevine that vinyl is coming back.
It is.
And
that's not through the grapevine. That's real.
I had saved a whole bunch of albums from days gone by and stored them because my turntable had died, and now I can go out and get a turntable.
Yeah, but on the output's not 2 RCA jacks anymore. No, it's a USB port to go right into your computer.
Go right into the computer. But vinyl. A lot of kids walking around wouldn't know what 33 1/3 was, or 45, or there was an even slower.
It wasn't slower; it was faster. 78 was before that. Yeah, right. The 78, and that was more of it wasn't vinyl. What was it? And I'm trying to remember the term. It was a varnished something, a hard plastic.
It was acetate.
That's it, acetate. That's the word I was using.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter. Pete Cole's behind the board over there. Thank you.
That's right. So can you run down some of the you've got March, April, and May this season?
In March, we have, on a Friday night, a group called the Screaming Orphans. You want to get set up for St. Patrick's Day. I've worked with them a couple of times in Northampton up at the Scottish Festival. These are a bunch of sisters, 4 sisters that are from Donegal, Ireland, and they play some of the most lively Celtic music you would ever know. Opening for them, by the way, I have Sarah the Fiddler coming in and just confirmed that, so that's great. That Saturday night in March, we have a ska band called El Grande, and they're out of Portland, Maine. And then on Sunday, Robbie Folks is a kind of a country folk music.
He's made a name for himself.
He has, yeah. So we wanted to mix things up a little bit, and that's why we had, Celtic in March, appropriate. Ska music, which is kind of a cross between reggae and punk rock. It's really an odd combination, but it works, and there's a lot of fans of that. And I'm looking around, and I can't see where that's been done around here in a long time.
I don't know. I really don't get to cover the genre of music that you guys do. But, I know some of it, and I'm kind of ramped up about it.
That's what we're hoping. We want all of Westfield to just be, holy cow, look what they're doing.
Are people from outside of Westfield coming?
They are. As a matter of fact, we just had James Montgomery in there, who was phenomenal. I haven't seen him in years. He's been around since the early 70s and got his start doing concerts at UMass. So, you think back in the late 60s, early 70s, he had a ball coming back here and kept referencing, I love the 401 area code, because that's where he got his start. And on stage with him, as a matter of fact, was a bass player that often plays out on the road with Aerosmith. So those are the kind of professionals you get here. That's what we want.
When will you guys start planning the 2020-2021 season?
We already are. I can't talk about anything because we don't have signed contracts, but we have a lot of great possibilities. A lot of people are calling us now saying, hey, can we play this? That's what we're hoping for. But take a look, westfieldconcerts.com. We have shows in April right through May, and about mid-May is our last show. And but if you look out there, you're going to see the Carpenters. You're going to see a Pat Benatar show. This is going to be so much fun.
I'm very excited about it. I've heard great feedback, and by all means, go to the website because there's all the listening. Are there any opening acts February that are locals?
Honestly, I've forgotten what they are because Patrick is putting that together. So I apologize in advance here. I know most of the main acts off the top of my head, and even those I've got to go out and look because there's so much going on.
I would assume they're on the website.
They are WestfieldConcerts.com. That's where you're going to find everything.
Now you guys are taking the summer off, right?
We are. Yeah, mostly because there's no air conditioning in that room, and it gets warm. Otherwise, we're always looking for venues. We can do summer concerts. It's one of the reasons when we built Gaslight Entertainment, when Patrick and I talked about that, what do we want to build here for a brand? And, we wanted an entertainment company, so there's Gaslight Entertainment. We decided Gaslight because, well, there's a Gaslight district now being developed in downtown Westfield. If this ever takes off, by the time the Gaslight district is finished, which is still a few years away, we're going to be right in the midst of it with the right name. But we also realized Westfield Concerts describes what we are, what we do, and where we do it. It's in Greater Westfield. So that's why we were quite pleased WestfieldConcerts.com was available when we were looking to build the website. So it's really, that's the brand we're going to end up driving. And it's not everything at 28 Court Street at the Women's Club. We can do that anywhere. Somebody wants to do an event in their backyard, an event at a football stadium here in town. We can do any of those things, and what we want to be known as is an organization that puts together great shows. That's it.
Do you think your programming will remain the same, or do you think you'll expand? I mean, at one point, Patrick had said he wanted to have theater, play readings, and possibly chamber music, and another whole variety of others.
Well, we're certainly open to all of that. And part of the problem with that is marketing. And as you know, if I'm marketing to somebody for rock and roll, that's a whole different place we're going than if I want to do the chamber music or even comedy or book reading, things like that. All of those things, it just takes time and money, and we're on a budget. Any startup, like you said, it's a startup. It takes time. We're not expecting this to, really take on legs of its own right away. So, hey, we know it's going to be an investment in time and a few bucks, and it's the satisfaction at the other end of that. We know a few years down the road, if this thing is still rolling, we're going to be extremely happy. And I hope more than that, I hope Westfield is extremely happy with what we're doing.
I hope Westfield appreciates what you guys are doing. I know the media does. I mean, I've seen stories in the Republican, the Westfield News, Channel 40, covering what's going on. So I know that the word is out there, but I certainly hope that people in Westfield, it's the only performing arts not affiliated with Westfield State University's music program or theater program.
Right.
It's the only performing arts live entertainment taking place in the city on a regularly scheduled basis.
And we're also getting questions. Are we a not-for-profit? How is this? What are you affiliated with? Patrick and I just stuck it out there. It's not a not-for-profit, but by no means does that say we're making a profit. We never expected to. And honestly, it's a business. For a lot of legal reasons, that's the way we set it up. But we didn't expect to. We walked into this not expecting to make $1. As long as we didn't lose our shirts, we'd be good.
Yeah.
And I think we're on track to do exactly that. I think we're going to build this brand that will down the road. Will it? Okay, I'll retire from my real job and just need some walking around money, and we'll make it work. Yeah. That would be my hope, that in 5 years this is standing on its own and we can reinvest in it and make it better.
Which one of the two of you thought up the idea of doing the concerts, or was it a collaboration? Were you sitting around one day, let's start a concert series, or did you go to Patrick, or did Patrick come to you? How did it happen?
It's his fault. Oh, that's if it doesn't work. No, just kidding. We've talked about this for many years, just bandering things about, and I've always had the dream, and many people who've talked to me about it back when I was working with Westfield on weekends, because I was very lucky to have been part of Westfield on weekends and all the concerts they've done in the green in the summertime. That's really where. Well, it's where the dream started happening, that I'd love to have my own little theater in town. And we talk about the space downtown where Newberry's was, that that would be a perfect place for a theater. It's just financially, you'd need a lot of investors, and to tell them I want to build a theater, what that to most investors means is a big empty room that you got to work hard to fill seats. That's not an easy thing to sell right now. And you're talking many, many millions of dollars to even get started in something like that. So maybe way down the road, maybe that's the thing we invest in 10 years if this thing really takes off. But now we're working to prove this. We know Westfield is not going to be the only this small little, well, relatively small, 40,000 people. We know it's not going to be Westfield alone that supports this. We're looking for, maybe a 40 or 50 mile radius, Northern Connecticut to Greenfield to the Berkshires to Worcester. Within an hour of this place, we're going to have shows that are worth coming to see.
And I think that people don't realize, I do, because I travel out here to do radio and write for Westfield News. The only time I had been in Westfield prior to that was either passing through on the Pike, which doesn't count, or way back, the Springfield Symphony did a summer pop series at Stanley Park.
Yeah.
And when I came out to Westfield the first time, I was involved in that and realized that Westfield's a beautiful town. And it's really at the most, it takes me from Longmeadow to get here a half an hour at the most.
Yeah.
And people I'm traveling and to come out and do radio. I'm traveling during rush hour. So it sure can be done in less time.
Well, I was going to say rush hour here is nothing like the rush hour I see in Boston. So people here complain about, I had to go downtown. Tomorrow morning, come on, I want to show you Boston.
Yeah. And the other thing, if you do come to the Westfield Women's Club for one of these concerts, there's plenty of parking around. It's
there
free.
Is, yeah.
It's well lit, even without your generator. It's well lit. And there's so many good restaurants now in Westfield.
Yeah, that there are, and I've got to say we're lucky to be partnering with the tavern. We do have beer and wine we're selling. That's it's like you're going to have a show. A lot of people would like to have a drink while they're there. You don't have to, but come on in. Beer and wine was an important part of this project, and we're lucky that the taverns worked with us. The city is working with us to enable that to happen with the licensing commission. There's so many little things and logistics that you got to have happen to make this work, and it's all come together. I've got to thank all of the people that have supported us, from the city to the Westfield Women's Club to Westfield Theater Group, because we're sometimes in their way. All of the people have come together to make this work, including the bands, Kathy Wagner, and it's
one of the opening acts, and I think it was John Berman, who's local musician, pumped the daylights out of promoting Westfield concerts, which I thought was fantastic.
John's been in the music scene for a long time around here, and he teaches school now as well now, and. When I first met him, and I think he was one of my first radio shows that I did almost 5 years ago when we were back over at the college. He's been just incredibly supportive of everything we do, and that goes both ways. That's why we want to support the artists. To the extent that we can do that, everybody wins.
Yeah, and I saw an interview, maybe it was an interview that you did on your radio program with one of the acts that was here in January. I don't remember which one. And the guy said he still has to work a day job. But
many artists do.
He has to work a day job, and they were New Jersey based, and
that'd be the lead singer of Kick. We
Yeah.
did the
Yeah.
Kick interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how excited he was to have an opportunity to perform at something like this. So I think the groups that you're bringing in and the groups that are, posting to Gaslight Entertainment's Facebook page, we want to come. I think musicians understand the value of a series like this, and I hope the community does too.
I'm sure they will. Everything that I've heard is more and more people are going, "You're doing this?"
Yeah.
And that's exactly the reaction I want. We talked about musicians having day jobs. The Queen show that's coming in. There's 10 people in that group. They're everything from lawyers to just there's an opera singer in there, which I can't wait to hear what that sounds like. But the mix of people is incredible. And yeah, we all have day jobs. We all have our real job, and we all dream that we could be, full-time rock and rollers, full-time musicians, or producers.
I never had that dream of being a rock and roller, but I know others.
I did for a very short period of time.
I don't sing very well, so I'd be playing to empty houses.
Well, I tried karaoke once. Well, it's amazing how fast you can empty a room.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jay, we're about out of time. I want to thank you. Westfield Concerts, westfieldconcerts.com, Jay Pagluica, who you know as the guy on the radio who comes on before me every Friday morning. And he and his partner in crime, Patrick Berry, have put together a fabulous concert series here in Westfield. And as an arts reporter, I have to say that when you have the arts in a community, the community gains something, because the people that are coming to these concerts are going to park, they're going to buy food and drink in local places. They make shop while they're here. So having the arts in your community just boosts your community on so many levels.
It does. Thank you very much.
Thanks
I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. And I'm also on Tuesday morning with Bob Plass. So from 6 to 8 in the morning on Tuesdays.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So
I'm taking a little leave of absence from that because I'm just too busy with work.
It's good to be busy. And everybody out there that complains about being busy, don't complain.
Yeah. I also find getting up that hour of the morning to drive over here, the public takes their lives in their hands because I drive half asleep. But anyway, hope it goes well, and we'll have you guys back sometime.
Yeah, we'll
talk about the march.
Certainly recap this a little bit later on, how we did, how we're doing, and I'm sure I'll see you before April or May.
Terrific. You've been listening to Artsbeat Radio and TV here. Peter Coles is our chief engineer. We are broadcasting now from Studio 120. Next week is Valentine's Day. So our guests, I decided one of the most popular programs that we had produced here at Artsbeat was with Tara Franklin and James Barry, who are actors, directors. They happen to be spouses. And when we did the last interview with both of them, it was like being at their house while they were getting a kid ready to go to school. And the program got such great feedback that we replayed it a couple of times. So because it's Valentine's Day coming up, I thought we'd do an all-new version of Being Around Tara and James. So that comes up next week. Thanks for listening. If you missed a part of it, you can find it on WSKB's YouTube channel. Take care. Have a good week.
Why don't you trace it on my hand, or make a song, do anything? Say it somehow, I will understand. I know you are good.
There's something inside you, this I know. It's like a melody, like there you go just now. Say it somehow, somehow you can show me. Say it somehow, any way you can. You know me, you are good. Oh, you are good, you are good to me. I know this song will touch me. I think I hear the sound of wrapping arms around me. must be mine to ask it.
Ask it then.
I wish to be the one to decide.
Decide.
Will you?
Yes.
Will you marry me?
Yes. You are good to me.
I know